Hey, thanks for checking out Fun Time Travel. So today we're going to talk about onboard spending because, well, onboard spending is way up. Back in 2019, before the pandemic, people were spending about $66 per day on board cruises. And now they're averaging $81 per day. So that's an increase of almost 23%, which is pretty massive. And really, it's not surprising that the cruise lines are starting to get back to profitability with those sorts of numbers. Now, that's nearly $5,000 a year per person that they're making in more money these days. So, and the cruise lines continue to find more ways to, as they call it, optimize spending, and they're even trying to get us to spend money on board before we're on board. It's crazy. So let's check it out.
Cruise lines are making a huge effort to get us cruisers to pre-book onboard spending.
Yeah.
And this is a great way to guarantee more revenue on each cruise. Not to mention, by getting us to spend in advance, experts say that we don't feel like we're spending more when we buy things when we're on board.
You know, like at the jewelry shop or the t-shirt shop or whatever.
Once we get on a cruise ship, you usually say, now we're playing with Monopoly money.
Oh, yeah, I'm just as much to blame as anybody. Yeah.
Yes. So anyways.
It's my fault.
No, it's our fault. Once the cruise is paid off, it's just so much easier to buy some onboard stuff ahead of time. You know, then when it's all paid off and the cruise is underway, it kind of translates into more shopping and casino revenue for the cruise lines.
Right. So in a lot of cases, people who feel like they haven't spent a lot of money ahead of time, right? Because you've already paid it off. So it somehow doesn't, you know, when you're not dishing it out, right? You're not doing the whole... then you don't feel like you're spending it. So it makes it easier to spend that money on board. And we're going to talk about some of the ways they're getting us to spend money once we get on board.
Yeah.
Or before we get on board. Watching our video, we'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos.
And for more tips and tricks and cruising information, please check us out on our other channel, Sandy Sun Travel.
And if you're looking to plan a cruise or any other vacation, head on over to sandysuntravel.com where we can help you plan your dream vacation. Plus, if you're feeling lucky, you can scroll down the page to a spot where you can enter to win a dream vacation.
Well, one of the first ways, or first things,
Yeah.
with the pre-booking spending would be drink packages, which is, this one is obviously obvious.
Nothing gets by you.
Anyways, since the restart, nearly every cruise line has raised the prices on drink packages. I think every cruise line has raised prices on drink packages.
And they give you a discount for
Yeah.
booking in advance.
They do. Also, depending on the cruise line, be careful if you have to sign a receipt, because those receipts have places for tips, and you already paid a tip when you bought your package. Now, we are not against tipping extra for a good service because we do it, but just make sure that you know you're doing it and keep track of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, another area where cruise lines are really raking in the dough is in specialty dining. Now, specialty dining used to be the exception on cruise lines, and now it seems like it's the standard. And you almost have to book these things in advance if you want a specific time for specialty dining on most ships, right? People will book that onboard specialty dining way in advance, and again, those prices have creeped up.
Yeah.
Right? Going to the steakhouse on a Carnival cruise ship now, I think it's like $48 per person plus an 18% gratuity. So you're spending $100 for specialty dining, likely booked well in advance, for dinner that you could actually get dinner for, I was going to say for free, included in your cruise fare in the main dining room. So specialty dining is one that's just really tricky.
It is. Another one would be main dining room upcharges. Now, since we've been talking about onboard dining, one recent change made by some of the cruise lines is an upcharge for additional lobster tails at dinner. Now, some of them used to have basically all you can eat. You know.
Well, right. It always was. You could get as many entrees, as many whatever, and
Right. But they're now doing an upcharge for some of the more expensive stuff, like an additional lobster tail, or in some cases even additional fees for extra dinner entrees.
Right. I think they'll let you, like Carnival will let you get a second entree for free, whatever, but then they'll charge you an additional, I want to say is it $5? Is it $20? Or they charge you an additional fee if you want more entrees beyond that. So it's slowly creeping, these upcharges are creeping into the main dining room even. You know, before long, the only place you're going to be able to eat for free is the buffet.
Yeah, so just check, depending on what cruise line you're going on, you know, check that before you just order it thinking it's still, you know, as many as you want.
Right.
Because it is as many as you want, but at a point you're going to have to pay extra.
Right. Yeah, so keep an eye on that. Okay, so another area where you get charged extra, you can pay for this in advance or you can pay for it on board. And again, it's one of those, if you pay for it in advance, you get a discount. But that's Wi-Fi. And this can cost you up to $100 or even more on your cruise. In some cases, it's unnecessary. Or I rephrase that. I should say in some cases it's necessary, right? Maybe you have some situations you have to keep an eye on back home or you're waiting for whatever reason. But it could really add an expense to your cruise. And not to mention, and we go back and forth on this. In fact, most of the time we go on cruises, one of us gets the Wi-Fi and the other one doesn't. And the only reason I get the Wi-Fi is because, well, we're reaching out to you or you're reaching out to us, and so we feel like it's kind of a necessary thing. But we do love going on a cruise and just completely disconnecting. So that's, I think in some ways it's a perk not to have the Wi-Fi.
Okay, another way to do, you know, to spend more or on your pre-book spending. How did I mess that up?
I don't know. It's not even happy hour yet.
Gosh. I think I'm just hungry. I'm hungry. Onboard entertainment. Okay.
Yeah.
They're now charging, or they have been charging, for go-karts, things like roller coasters, interactive gaming, and even laser tag. Some of those newer ships, well, not even newer ones, but some do have laser tag, and they do have an upcharge for that. So
yeah, it seems like every time they upgrade the cruises, they add more stuff to them, and a lot of those things are for an upcharge. Or even like in the case of Royal Caribbean, they've got Coco Cay and the Perfect Day at Coco Cay, and it's the water park. What is it? It's $50-$60 per person. Yeah. You know, some of the ports, I love that they have the
80.
yeah, gosh, well, it probably will be tomorrow. But the, you know, like Amber Cove from Carnival, and you know, some of the other cruise lines that visit some of these ports, they've got nice water features, and those are included. Obviously Coco Cay is over the top, but it just seems like every time you turn around, all these new things that are getting added, there's an additional fee, and they'll let you pay for it in advance, because then when you get there, there's probably some upgrade or some freebie, not freebie, some little thing you can pay extra for. So then, speaking of extras, right, the private areas on board the ships are another place where you'll end up paying extra. Things like Norwegian Cruise Line's Vibe Beach Club, which is fantastic, but it can cost as much as $500 for a cruise per couple. And we also notice that some ships are partitioning off more and more space for private areas or for suite guests. So in some ways, it almost feels like the only way to get a good spot to enjoy the sun is to pay more for these private areas. And in fact, our cruise in February, we're really strongly considering booking the Vibe Beach Club, because we want to be able to go and get a lounger. And when only like a third of the ship looks like it's set up for, you know, free space, it's hard not to make that consideration. So we'll let you know what we end up doing.
Well, we've long said that cruising can be one of the most affordable ways to vacation, but things are constantly changing, and we wonder if a cruise will be the best deal in the future. We don't know. But all of these new expenses and charges concern us. I mean, obviously, I know everything's going up in price. So it's not just cruising, it's vacationing in general, no matter what you do. But if this trend doesn't change soon, cruising may not continue to be the value that it has always been.
Right. In fact, I mean, I'd say that it's not the value that it's always been. But, you know, the trend of adding fees, we're really hoping that comes to an end, because we love cruising. We want to keep doing it for years to come. So what do you think? Have you gotten caught up in extra onboard spending? Did you book the cruise, then book all the extras, then you got on board and you're like, oh, well, we don't have anything to pay for, and then you found ways to spend more money? We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. But that's it for now. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.